My child, can you stay with me for just a minute? Not your whole day, not all your energy, just this small space right here. Pause where you are, even if your hand is still on your phone, even if your mind is already trying to move on. Let this be one of the rare moments where you don't rush past what's reaching for you. I'm drawing close, gently stepping into your thoughts, because I need you to feel this. Not because I'm asking for control, but because something you've been quietly praying for is closer than you think. And when your life keeps moving fast, when your attention slips, when you tell yourself later, you risk missing what's already being placed in front of you. So I'm asking again, softly but with urgency, stay here with me. Just one breath, one still moment where the noise eases enough for you to notice something deeper. You've moved past moments like this before. Times when you felt a small pull in your chest but kept scrolling, kept going, telling yourself you'd come back to it. Times when your day felt too full, your mind too loud, your body too tired to stop and listen. Even those quiet mornings when you opened your eyes and already felt the weight of everything waiting for you, and you chose to push through instead of pausing. But this moment, it feels different, doesn't it? There's a softness in you right now, something less guarded, more open than usual. You can sense it. The weight of these words, the quiet pull you can't fully explain. I'm near, closer than you've allowed yourself to believe, reaching for you in a way that doesn't force, but invites. And deep down, something in you recognizes that this is real. This moment is not random. It is not accidental. It has been placed into your life because your heart has been drifting without you even noticing. Your days have been filled with noise, thoughts stacking on top of each other, worries following you from morning into night, emotions you haven't had space to process. You've been moving through it all on low energy, giving more than you realize you have left. You felt it. That kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix, the kind that shows up when you're sitting quietly, staring at nothing, trying to gather yourself again. You've been carrying things you were never meant to carry alone, holding it together on the outside while something inside you feels stretched thin, smiling through conversations, staying strong for others, even when your own heart feels heavy. And in all that noise, my voice became harder for you to notice. Not because you stopped caring, but because you've been overwhelmed. Not because you turned away, but because you've been trying to survive each day with what little energy you had left. I've been there with you, in the way your steps slowed, in the way your eyes carried more than you said, in the quiet parts you kept hidden so no one would worry. That's why this moment feels closer, more present than usual, because you've been carrying prayers you never fully spoke out loud, the kind you whispered under your breath, or held in your chest when words felt too heavy, the ones you thought might not even reach me, but they did. Every single one found its way, even the ones wrapped in doubt, even the ones spoken through tears. I've held those prayers with care. I've stayed with them, even when you felt unheard, even when it seemed like nothing was changing. And now, something you've been asking for, something you almost gave up on, is beginning to move toward you. A shift, a response, a moment that has been forming quietly beyond what you can see, but you need to be present for it. You need to stay awake enough, open enough, to recognize it when it arrives. That's why I'm asking for your attention now, not to take anything from you, but to help you receive what's already on its way. So, stay here a little longer, just long enough to let your breath settle, and your heart remember how to feel again. If you rush past this moment, if your eyes skim these words while your mind is already somewhere else, if you do what you've done so many times before when something starts to feel a little too real, you could miss the very thing you've been asking me for. The answer you've carried in quiet prayers, the shift you've been hoping would finally come. So stay here, just for a moment. Let me meet you in this pause. Let me hold things still for you, even if just for a breath. Let the noise around you soften, the thoughts in your head settle, the pressure ease just enough for you to feel again. This isn't about taking you away from your life. It's about giving you a small space inside it. A space where your heart can loosen, where your spirit can open, where you can actually hear what's been trying to reach you. You've pulled away from moments like this before. Times when you felt something rising inside you, and instead of staying with it, you distracted yourself, changed focus, kept moving. Sometimes because feeling it all at once felt like too much. Sometimes because facing your own hurt felt heavier than just pushing through another day. And sometimes because a part of you stopped believing that something good could really reach you. You learned how to move on quickly, how to stay busy, how to avoid the quiet places where hope might ask you to trust again. Running felt easier than waiting, easier than believing, easier than opening your hands to something you weren't sure would come. You've brushed past my quiet nudges more times than you can count, not out of rejection, but because your heart grew tired of expecting change. It became easier to scroll, to fill the silence, to keep your attention scattered, than to sit with something that might ask more of you. But even then, I stayed near you. Comment: God is my safe refuge if you run to Him when life feels heavy. And hear this clearly: my reaching for you never stopped. My presence never pulled back. My care for you moved through your walls, through your doubts, through the quiet spaces where you felt alone. You've been looking for peace, but carrying so much inner noise that it passes by unnoticed. You've been searching for direction, while distractions pull your focus in every direction at once. You've been longing for comfort, yet surrounding yourself with things that only help you feel less, not heal more. You've been searching for me too, but the pace of your life has made it hard to slow down long enough to notice I'm already there. So I stepped into this moment with you. Right into your day, into the middle of your thoughts, into the exact second your attention wavered and your heart felt tired, and I asked you gently, can you give me 1 minute? Just a little time, because there's something here for you. Something soft, something steady, something your heart has needed for so long that it almost forgot how to reach for it. What you're reading right now isn't just words on a screen. This moment carries intention. It meets you exactly where you are because something in you is finally ready to listen, to release, to receive what has been forming quietly beyond what you can see. You may still feel unsure. You may not understand what's shifting yet. You may not feel fully prepared for what's ahead. But stay with me here, because this moment matters more than you realize. So give me your attention, just for now. Give me your breath, your awareness, your presence in this space. Stay long enough for something inside you to settle, long enough for me to place something within you that begins to move your life in a new direction. Let me tell you why this moment had to find you like this, why you felt that subtle pull in your chest, why your thoughts paused just long enough to notice these words. You've been carrying more than you've admitted, even to yourself. There's been a quiet heaviness sitting with you through your days. You push it down so you can function, cover it with routines, with conversations, with staying busy. You smile, you show up, you keep going. But when you're alone, you can feel how much it's been taking from you. You've been mentally stretched, trying to hold everything together while parts of your heart feel like they're slipping. And spiritually, things have gone quiet. Not because you stopped believing, but because life has been so loud, so full, that it's been hard to hear anything beyond it. You didn't notice it happening, but you started drifting, not all at once, not in some obvious way, but slowly. In skipped moments, in small compromises, in times when you chose distraction over stillness. It happens like that, quietly, gently, over time. You didn't drift because you were trying to run away. You drifted because you were tired, because your heart had taken more hits than you knew how to process, because you were carrying things that no one else seemed to see. And somewhere in all of that, you started hoping someone would finally notice how much weight you've been holding on your own. You got used to the quiet around you, the kind of silence that settles in when no one really asks how you're doing, and eventually you stopped telling the truth. But I was there with you. I noticed how your inner world grew quieter, how your hopes slowly thinned, how parts of you that once felt alive became still. I felt you drifting into that numb space, and I reached for you before you disappeared into it. You've been carrying more than you were meant to hold alone, trying to stay strong so no one would worry, even on the days you felt like breaking inside. You learned how to move through pain by setting it aside, how to carry grief without facing it, how to sit in loneliness while pretending it wasn't there. It felt safer to stay in control than to risk falling apart. So you guarded your heart. You kept your emotions contained until even joy had trouble reaching you. You carried wounds without tending to them, exhaustion without resting, heartbreak without giving yourself space to heal. And somewhere in all that weight, you forgot what it feels like to breathe without pressure. You adapted just to get through, staying busy, distracting yourself, filling the silence so you wouldn't have to face what was hurting. There were moments, lying in bed, staring at your phone, sitting in quiet, when something inside you stirred, but you moved away from it quickly. You told yourself you were fine, even as you felt yourself drifting further away from me. You weren't pushing me away, you were protecting yourself. I saw how carefully you held yourself together, how you stopped expecting too much, how you avoided feeling too deeply. But that numbness you leaned on began to take something from you. It made it harder for you to recognize what's being placed in front of you now. That's why this moment feels different. Heavier, clearer, harder to ignore. You were drifting toward a kind of silence that could have caused you to miss what you've been waiting for. And because I could see how close it is, I couldn't let you pass it by. So I stepped into your day in a way you could feel. Something to slow you down, to bring your attention back, to gently pull your heart away from that edge of exhaustion. Because there is something coming into your life that carries restoration with it. Something prepared long before you understood why you would need it. But your heart was getting too tired to receive it. And I wasn't going to let that happen. That's why I met you here, in this moment, while you've been carrying so much and running on empty. I won't let you disappear into numbness, fear, or quiet exhaustion. My child, understand this clearly. This moment is not random, not earlier, not later, but this exact minute was set aside with your heart in mind. Through everything you've walked through, you've been led here, to this pause, to this breath, to this space where you can hear me again. Every night you lay awake, every tear you hid, every prayer you whispered in silence, it all led to this. Every moment you felt stuck, unseen or uncertain, brought you closer to this point. This is not coincidence. This is not an accident. You've been carrying so much for so long. Responsibilities, pressure, emotions that never fully settled, and it was building quietly, bringing you closer to that numb place again. But what's coming requires something different. It asks your heart to be present, to feel again, to open again. So stay here with me. I want to speak to the parts of you you've kept hidden. The pain you pushed down, the hurt you minimized, the weight you carried alone because you didn't think anyone would help you hold it. You've been holding yourself together for so long. Smiling, staying strong, moving forward even when your chest felt heavy. But I saw those moments when your heart broke, when trust was lost, when love was mishandled, when something inside you didn't fully recover. Even now, some of that pain is still there. You've learned how to avoid it, how to protect yourself from feeling it again. You built walls not because you stopped wanting love, but because you're trying to protect what remains. And I was there through all of it. In the quiet breakdowns, the hidden tears, the exhaustion that lives deeper than your body, I saw how tired you've been, tired of holding everything together, tired of hoping, tired of waiting for something to finally change. You've been giving while needing, supporting while longing to be supported. And even when you kept going without strength, I was there with you. I saw the disappointment too. The doors that closed, the people who didn't stay, the moments that didn't turn out the way you hoped. And I saw how that changed you, how your heart became more careful, more guarded, more hesitant to believe again. But even in that, I never stepped away. My child, every disappointment you carried, I held it with you. I never dismissed your hope or overlooked the dreams that mattered to your heart. Even when you felt unseen or forgotten by others, I remained with you, steady and present. Nothing you felt was ever too small or too heavy for me to care about. I saw your loneliness, the kind that lingers even in a crowded room. That quiet weight in your chest that whispers, no one fully understands what you carry. I was there in the nights you were alone, and also in the moments you were surrounded by people, but still felt distant inside. I felt that longing in you for someone who could simply sit beside you and say, I'm here. I know how deeply you wanted love that felt safe and steady. Even when you felt invisible, my attention never left you. I stayed with you, in that quiet hope that maybe something would change. My care for you remained constant, even when you struggled to believe it. I also saw your fear, the kind that quietly shapes your choices. Fear of what's ahead, fear of repeating what hurt you before, fear of being too much or somehow not enough. It made you second-guess yourself and hold parts of who you are back just to feel safe. And I stayed with you through every one of those moments. There were nights when your thoughts wouldn't slow down, when your chest felt tight and your mind kept searching for answers that didn't come. Even then, when you felt completely alone, I was there beside you, closer than you realized, holding you through what you couldn't explain. I saw your confusion too. The times when life didn't make sense, when things shifted without warning, when you questioned if you had done something wrong. You searched for clarity but found only silence. And still, I knew exactly where you were and what you were walking through. I saw when your emotions went quiet, when joy felt far away and connection felt out of reach. Those moments when you weren't breaking, you just felt empty, like there was nothing left to give. You shut things down because feeling deeply had become too heavy to carry. You were not broken in those moments. You were protecting yourself the only way you knew how. You weren't cold. You were tired of being hurt. And even when you couldn't feel me, I stayed close, steady beside you. I saw every time you said you were fine when you weren't. The small smile, the quick joke, the way you shifted attention so no one would look too closely. You carried yourself with strength while something inside you was quietly falling apart, and I understood why. I noticed the moments you held everything in, the times you swallowed your words and pushed your feelings down. Every quiet restraint, every hidden emotion, I was there for all of it. Nothing about your silence went unseen. I saw your tears too, the ones that came at night when everything caught up with you. The ones you tried to hide, turning away so no one would hear. Every tear mattered, even the ones you didn't understand yourself. I saw the weight of feeling forgotten, when people didn't show up, didn't notice, didn't ask, when you wondered if anyone would care if you disappeared for a while. And I saw how heavy it felt to carry so much on your own, but even in those moments, you were never alone. Not one tear, not one quiet night, not one heavy breath went unnoticed. I held what you were going through, even when you couldn't see it. I stayed close in ways you didn't always recognize. When your heart broke, I was there beside you. When you felt exhausted and kept going anyway, I was holding you up. When hope felt like it was slipping away, I was gathering those pieces with you. I never stepped away from your pain. I was there in your loneliness, your fear, your confusion. Even in your numbness, when everything felt distant, I stayed close, keeping something alive inside you. Every silent cry, every hidden moment, I was there. And now, I want to gently reach into those quiet places inside you. The longings you kept hidden, the fears you never said out loud, the dreams you slowly set aside. Those parts of you still matter. Every thought, every feeling, every quiet hope, I have heard them all. Even the questions you held inside, wondering if you were enough, if things would ever change, if anything could truly last. You tried to stay strong, but inside there were storms you couldn't calm alone. And still, none of it went unheard. I saw the dreams you let go of, not because you stopped wanting them, but because you were tired of being disappointed. You stepped back from joy, from love, from hope, because it felt safer that way. But even then, I saw how carefully you placed them down, and those dreams were never lost. They were held, waiting quietly for the moment your heart is ready to hold them again. You told yourself it would be easier to stop wanting those dreams, to quietly set them aside so you wouldn't have to feel that ache every time they didn't come true. But I saw the way you let them go, slowly and carefully, like something fragile you didn't want to break any further. And I stayed with those dreams for you. They didn't disappear. They simply waited for the moment your heart could hold hope again. I heard the prayers you whispered when no one else could hear them. The ones that came when your chest felt tight, when your hands trembled, when your eyes filled and you tried to stay quiet. The soft, please help me. The quiet, I can't do this alone. The moments you asked for just enough strength to get through. Even the words you could barely form reached me clearly. None of those prayers were overlooked. I didn't need them to be perfect or spoken out loud. What you gave, even in a whisper, was enough, and I held every word close. I heard you more clearly than you realized, even in your weakest moments. I know what your mornings have felt like, that heaviness the second you open your eyes, before the day even begins. The pressure in your chest, the thoughts already waiting, the feeling that you're stepping into something you're not ready for. Some mornings feel like facing a battle you never chose. You lie there for a moment, trying to gather yourself before getting up. Responsibilities return all at once, along with emotions that never fully settled from the day before. And still, you find a way to move, even when the strength doesn't feel real. You've learned how to carry yourself through those mornings quietly, taking a breath, steadying yourself, putting on a face that hides what's really going on inside. Sometimes it isn't even sadness, just a weight, or a kind of numbness that follows you into the day, and you wondered if anyone truly saw how hard that was. But I was there in every one of those mornings. I stayed with you when you woke up feeling empty, when yesterday's weight was still sitting on your chest. I was there when getting out of bed felt harder than you wanted to admit, when part of you wished you could stay hidden from everything waiting outside. I gave you strength in ways you didn't always notice. There were days you thought you made it through on your own, but you didn't. I was holding you together more than you knew, keeping you steady when everything felt like it might fall apart. Even in the moments when the weight felt too much, something kept you going. When you felt like you were close to breaking, you were still held. I stayed with you through every day and every night, bringing quiet when your thoughts grew loud, and staying close when loneliness filled your chest. And you need to understand this clearly. Your pain never pushed me away. Every fear, every tear, every moment of weakness drew me closer to you. You have never been too much for me, not your emotions, not your questions, not your need for help. I was there in the moments you tried to hide, when you cried softly into the dark, hoping no one would hear, when you pulled away from others because it felt safer than being seen like that, when you wiped your tears quickly trying to hold everything together. I was there when you finally let yourself break, in the shower where you could release what you'd been holding in all day, in the moments you held your chest because the weight inside you felt too heavy for words. Even the quiet question, wondering if anyone truly cared, reached me. I saw the pain you carried in private, the nights when everything caught up with you, when your body felt it all at once, and none of it made me turn away. It drew me closer with care and compassion. I never wanted you to carry that alone. When others didn't notice, I did. When you felt unseen or forgotten, I was still there, holding you with steady love. When everything inside you felt quiet or numb, I stayed close, protecting what was still tender within you. And now I want to speak to something that has weighed on you for a long time. That feeling that your life has been delayed, slowed down, or blocked in ways you couldn't explain. You've wondered why things seemed to move for others while you felt stuck. You questioned why doors closed, why people didn't stay, why opportunities slipped away, even after you gave everything in prayer. It felt like every step forward was met with resistance. The path ahead felt unclear, like walking through fog without direction. But I want you to see this differently now. Those delays, those endings, those pauses, they were not punishment. Every single one of them was protection. If you can feel this right, thank you, God, for holding my hand, and share this message.